As we all have been playing witness to over the past several months, Justin Trudeau and his Liberal Party support base has been shrinking and shrinking. And in response to their shrinking popularity base, they've been making every single mistake possible to make sure that they don't actually regain any credibility with the Canadian voting public. When you fearmonger against your opposition, you're not actually making people trust you again. All you're doing is throwing mud at your opposition, which in theory might make people not like them, but that doesn't mean people will actually like you. On top of that, their attacks on the Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre are utterly incompetent and are not hurting the Conservatives one bit. And the Liberals, by fearmongering, you're basically demonstrating that you have nothing left in your own arsenal to prove that you should still be in charge of the country. You're just saying that the other guys are also bad, which is not exactly a great pitch for yourself. And that what brings me to this Jonathan Wilkinson video that the Liberals posted, where he's trying to fearmonger against the Conservatives for having pro-life members of Parliament. Just letting the Liberals know, there is a large portion of Canadians who are also pro-life. Actually, whenever the Liberals try and claim this is an extremely pro-choice country, they will say a statistic like, did you know that 80% of Canadians are somewhat pro-choice? Well, that's like saying the exact opposite. 80% of Canadians are somewhat pro-life. So the Liberals going so extremely anti-pro-life is going to just make Canadians more pro-life. This is just fear-mongering that's utterly empty, and it's going to lead to their own demise. Check out this video where Jonathan Wilkinson is looking very forlorn about, Arnold Viersen saying sensible things.
I want to present a petition today. They are calling on the government of Canada and this place to strengthen the protections for the preborn in Canada.
Well, that's pretty disturbing. I mean, I would say for folks who've been watching,
disturbing. It's disturbing that Arnold Viersen cares about the safety of the unborn. Yes, disturbing. You can disagree with Arnold Viersen's perspective. If you think it's disturbing, that's disturbing. It demonstrates why the Liberals have gotten so crazy that they think that's disturbing, to the point where they and the NDP voted against a legal protection to make it an upgraded offense if you assault a pregnant woman and cause her to miscarry her child. The Liberals and NDP voted against that legal measure because they said it was an attack on abortion rights. For a pregnant woman who wanted to keep her child to be assaulted and lose her child, it would be against abortion rights to actually punish that criminal with upgraded penalties and sentences for having assaulted a pregnant woman in that matter. These people are not pro-choice. They're insane people. That is a position where I don't think you could get more than 5% of Canadians agreeing with you. And all that 5% is in the Liberals and the NDP parties. It's like the bases of those parties. But Jonathan Wilkinson's going to keep going on, like somehow pretend that Arnold Viersen is outside of the mainstream norm, when, if anything, he's proving that he's I don't even know what the word to use, just a moron, just a psychopath, to see anything that Arnold Viersen is saying as somehow extreme and not representative of large chunks of the Canadian population.
What's been going on in the United States.
Guys, historic. The United States has overturned the terrible decision Roe versus Wade. This was what embedded abortion as a right in the United States. That's been overturned now. Feels so good.
Enormously disturbing to see that in the South, but it's even more disturbing to see it actually coming to Canada.
We are called to protect the dignity of life from conception to natural death.
Arnold Viersen standing up for the dignity of life from conception till natural death is disturbing to you, Jonathan. I don't think anyone would actually disagree with Arnold Viersen that we should protect the sanctity of life. Jonathan Wilkinson is actively taking the position that sanctity of life is bad, and that if you're a sensible person like him, if you're a decent human being like him, you vote against bills that would have upgraded penalties for criminals who assault pregnant women. You would vote against bills to ban sex-selective abortion. Abortion for the only purpose of eliminating a female child is perfectly in line with the values that Jonathan Wilkinson holds. If you poll people on those practices, 95% of them are against them. There is a large portion of extreme measures that people are totally willing to ban. But Jonathan Wilkinson is not even pro-choice. He's just crazy. And so he's going to then just simply fearmonger against the sensible position that Arnold Viersen and other conservatives have in order to try and, I don't know, dig the Liberals out of the polling hole that they're in. But it's not going to work because fearmongering doesn't build credibility. If anything, This is just very gratuitous the way he's advertising all of this stuff. I'll let him finish here.
Pearson is saying things that I think are rejected by the vast, vast majority of folks.
It just isn't by the polling statistics. If you actually poll on specific practices, he is very much in line with what Canadians think.
But it's not just Mr. Pearson. It's people like Kathy Wagenthal.
Conservatives stand for equality between men and women from the instant of conception.
And a range of others that sit in Mr. Poilievre's caucus.
Okay, I'm not sure why this is supposed to... I get
that the abortion debate was behind us, that we were actually in a society that valued choice. Clearly, that's...
The choice of criminals to beat pregnant women and not have any upgraded sentence for having killed their child. That's the type of choice that Jonathan Wilkinson stands for. This is why I reject the point that you get with some more red Tory-ish conservatives when they say, don't bring up abortion, don't bring up life issues at all. It's toxic. People don't want to hear about it. No, point at these people. They have crazy positions. That is disgusting, the sorts of things that Jonathan Wilkinson, the Liberals, and the NDP have voted for. It's not a pro-choice position. It's simply a anti-life position. They have anti-life positions on MAID. He doesn't want to bring up MAID. Obviously, he's not going to bring up any of Arnold Viersen or Kathy Wagenthal's opinions about MAID because the Liberals have gone so over their skis, they're having to kill their own legislation behind the scenes by passing it, but then sending it to committee and telling the committee not to do anything with it, because the idea that you're going to let people end their own lives because they're depressed or have a mental illness is unconscionable. That's disgusting. Nobody is in favor of that. And so the Liberals, on the sort of boilerplate mantra that we're in favor of choice, have taken these psychotic positions, and the Conservatives, or just anyone with some sense, should just point at them and say, this is actually what these people believe. These people are not in the mainstream of the country. These people are on the far out fringe of the anti-life agenda that many, psychotic leftists have. The people who believe in actual degrowth, putting up advertisements in downtown Vancouver and other urban centers in Canada, telling you not to have children because of climate change. That's ridiculous. These people, again, are not pro-choice. They are anti-life. They take anti-life positions that reward the ending of life. That is a problem. We need a government who actually has some moral objectivity on these issues and actually stands for sensible positions that normal Canadian people actually believe in. Not an opinion that when you have a scuffed poll, you can kind of read a crazy value system into. Again, whenever the Liberals say 80% of people or so are actually pro-choice in this country, somewhat pro-choice, yes, that means 80% of people on the other side are somewhat pro-life. People want sensible policies, not the psychotic policies of encouraging people to end their lives, offering maid services to disabled people, to veterans and whatnot. That's horrific. We actually need a government who values life, because, that might be a good thing, especially when we keep talking about how, we have a population in decline. Maybe we shouldn't end the lives of our own citizens and encourage them to do it. Just a thought there. Anyways, that should be it for me today, guys. Just letting you know, if you happen to live in my riding of Calgary Signal Hill, I am running for the Federal Conservative Party nomination. So if you live in this riding and have a federal membership, vote for me, number 1 on your ballot, whenever the nomination date gets set for. The last day it can happen is June 24th, so it's going to be coming up pretty quick here in less than a month. And then also, if you want to donate to the legal fund for the National Telegraph, there's a Give, Send, Go link in the description of this video for that. Have a great one, everyone.